Hello and welcome to this unconventional episode of the Unconventional Ufologist. Normally I would bring you some information in regards of cases or sightings throughout the years, mainly historical stuff. In recent times we've done stuff on the Tic Tac UFOs and the United States release of information, but this, it's a little bit off kilter and it's a true story. I call it Alien for Sale. It was originally done as one of the Tachyon radio documentaries, just a bit of fun one year around Halloween time, but it is, like I say, a true story, and it did appear in one of my books, Stop That Dog. So I thought what I'll do is I'll dig out the old recording of it, clean it up a little bit, tag it onto this intro and let you listen for yourself. Those that know me know that I've been around the UFO scene for years, and believe me, I've seen stuff, heard stuff, witnessed stuff that you would not believe. And this is one of those stories. It's pretty much self-explanatory as it goes along, so I'll leave you to this. This is Alien for Sale. Enjoy. And if you do, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Don't forget that one small click for you is one giant leap for this channel. Thanks a lot. See you soon. Now, family, friends and colleagues know I'm a bit of a UFO paranormal investigator. Contrary to the portrayal in popular TV shows, we all don't have green faces and run off screaming down corridors and crying at the hint of any kind of sound. Primarily, I'm a UFO researcher and I've been involved in an advisory role for some quite well-known UFO researchers and groups, and I've also ran a paranormal UFO group of my own in and around the Manchester area. Anyway, that's just a little background about me. When I was a freelance independent researcher, I used to get to go to quite a few meetings and conferences, and among some of the really good stuff out there, you always got the wild and the wacky. I regularly went to Arthur Tomlinson's DIGAP group. That was a direct investigation group on aerial phenomena. Their meetings were excellent. Arthur was a top bloke who originally interviewed the witnesses in the famous Ilkley Moor case before, well, in my opinion anyway, it was stolen off him for two so-called better researchers investigators. Of course, that's all alleged. Supposedly, they were better because they had books published. Now, Arthur was an electronics research engineer and he held math degrees and all sorts of other stuff. And what he didn't know on the subject of UFOs, I don't think wasn't worth knowing. He'd got interesting slideshows and videos that were rare, but I'm telling you, they were brilliant. He was also good friends with mrdia. She was the authority on the Nazca lines. Now, the DIGAP meetings, or to give them the more popular moniker, Arthur Nights, were open to everyone, and along with the serious-minded, you occasionally got the odd nutball. You could always tell if these were appearing because as you sat in the room, the person or persons would be sat in a far corner, staring into space. Well, one night I walked into the room and there were two blokes, one about 30, of Mediterranean descent, and the other an old, small, fat, balding bloke who would have passed for Coronation Street's Alec Gilroy's twin brother. Arthur did his usual roundup of local and big newsworthy sightings and introduced these two blokes. I won't mention any names, as one of them has occasionally popped up on BBC's GMR talking about local history, and two, I'm not loaded enough so that I can face all those kind of courtroom dramas, shall we say. Well, I won't swap and change between what the two men said in any kind of order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to condense it into one whole story. So sit right back now and be amazed. Apparently the old guy was, or is, psychic. And, I might be a little bit coloured on the view of that because I don't believe for a minute he was. But apparently he started picking up strange messages in his head telling him he must go to Malta. I get messages like that in my head all the time telling me to go to like Gran Canaria or other sunny places because after all, it's a sunny place and it would be a nice holiday. Anyway, the messages were that strong he bought a plane ticket the next day. When he got there, he got a taxi and told the driver to take him to a small village. This was where he met the young bloke that had come along with him. He asked this young chap to be his guide. He was looking for a cave of a certain description. Well, whoopie-doo, didn't the young bloke know exactly where he was and said he would take him there. So off they went. They found this cave and went in, and almost immediately were surrounded by a bright light. A small figure approached them, the typical grey alien, slender body, big head, wraparound eyes, you know, Kylie Minogue, well, perhaps not. This alien spoke to them and gave his tale of woe. What follows may not be verbatim, but you'll get the idea. Listen, dudes, I was here with the survey team who buggered off and left me. your hair's a bit iffy and I don't feel too well. Anyway, I got this message off to the lads via some super scientific jiggery pokery, and they're heading back for me. But I need someone to help me survive till they come. I sent messages to find someone true of heart, and now that person is here. Rinky dink. So anyway, after a bit of a chat, the two blokes tell the alien they're nipping back to the village for some supplies, and I'll be right back. So with great haste, they leg it back for some food, candles, blankets and water, and then zip straight back to the cave. This time, though, there's no white light. The alien is gone. Originally, they think it's been picked up by its mates, and although happy for it, feel sad by the loss of their newfound friend. Small fat bloke gets a hotel room in the nearby town and settles down with his thoughts. Anyhow, surprise, surprise, later that night the door is kicked in by some special forces types who question him about his alien friend. He says he knows nothing about what they're on about. Ha ha, they say, but you do, because we captured the little tyke and he told us all about you. They warned him to keep his trap shut or they might be a little bit peeved with him, and off they went into the night. Small overweight dude rushed to see the young bloke and found that he too had been visited by the Special Forces Glee Club. So small English bloke decides he should head home, and that for the young bloke's safety he should go back with him. Well, there's a pick-up line, and with that they headed back to Manchester. After a couple of days they had a strange visitor, and it was because of this visitor that they felt they had to come to the Die Gap meeting. This visitor that had called on them was also Special Forces, but he was a nice Special Forces man. He had seen the alien and talked to it and was quite upset at the way it was being treated. The alien told him to seek out, I can't say his name. He of good heart, he would help. So this Special Forces guy made arrangements with Small Fat Bloke and Medman. That's a team up for you if ever. At Small Fat Bloke's signal, they were to meet somewhere near Alderley Edge, where a van would turn up and a canvas bag would be thrown out. In this canvas bag would be the fugitive alien. Now, the signal that would be sent would be that the Small Fat Bloke had managed to raise and would have with him a suitcase with £20,000 in it. This was the reason they were at the meeting, to raise the money. He told us he'd accept cash or cheques right now. As you can imagine, we're all gobsmacked to say the least. The story itself stunk to high heaven, and me being me made that quite obvious. The room went quiet. You could see and hear tumbleweeds go across the floor. I burst out laughing, then others followed suit. Arthur looked slightly embarrassed and politely asked them to leave. At first he wouldn't budge and asked us once again for contributions, but eventually they went. I tell you, the X-Files has a lot to answer for. Now, I know there's not really a point or a moral to this story. I just found it quite amusing and wished to share it. But as an end piece, at the next meeting, Arthur brought a letter in saying that the alien was quite poorly and wouldn't last much longer, and also a bank account where we could transfer our cash direct. Strange place, this planet, isn't it? You take care.